Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Transgender Show. I'm your host, Emily. Each week, I interview someone from the trans or non-binary community. We share our stories in the hope that it will show you that you're not alone. My guest today is Khryzza. She goes by Nerdy Khryzza on Instagram. She's a new friend of mine and has recently really lent a lot of help to the channel. She's a mod for a couple of the nights, and it's just I really appreciate all the support she's been giving me already. She's been through a lot in her life and in her transition. She was a very successful Twitch streamer and podcaster until she began her transition, when unfortunately a lot of her followers turned their back on her. She's a huge gamer, nerd, dog owner, and currently living with her wife in Minnesota. Everyone, please welcome to the show, Khryzza. So let's go ahead and just jump right into your story. You have a really interesting story that I want to get to very soon, and I don't want to bury the lead, but I'm going to jump into the sort of history stuff so we can give a little background first, and then we'll get to that. Like I said, not going to bury the lead too much because your story is extremely interesting, and you, like I said, you've been through a lot in the teaser there. But to get some background, when did you first realize you were different? What were the signs for you when you were a kid?
The earliest thing that I can remember is I used to like being in the kitchen with my mom,
Okay.
whether it be cooking or baking. I can remember many of those days and nights when, she'd be baking or cooking, and she's actually the one who taught me the basic skills of cooking. So there was that, and then it was like my father, who then noticed that, started pulling me into the garage to help him with the car. And it's like, grab a 5 millimeter socket thing, and I'm like 6, 7 years old, 5. I'm like, what is that? Hello? And it was just, I knew it was something that I didn't want to do, because it was like, I don't want to sit in this car and or out here in this garage. So that was one of my earliest signs, I guess, that I liked, that I was a little different,
Mm.
you know?
Did you have any other ones? Were you jealous of anybody in particular, or were you interested in any of the clothes or any of that kind of stuff?
There were several moments throughout my life where I toyed with the idea, because I didn't have the language back then. I had
Mm.
no idea what a transgender person is, back then. I had no idea. Like, there were sensations that I really liked. For
Okay.
one, I liked it when my mom wore nylons. I just liked her nylons on. Liked seeing,
Hmm.
and I still like, stockings on ladies. It looks nice, and I'm sorry. But that's one of those things that was just like, I liked that, and couple of other moments in my life where my sister and her girlfriends actually dressed me up,
Wow.
one time, and just got to the moment of where I was gonna walk out and reveal to all of my family, which was my mom and I guess you could say, my mom's boyfriend at the time.
Okay.
So just before I walked out, I turned around, and I was just like, No, they're gonna tease me for this." My sister and her friends were having a good time. It was cool. It was fun for them. They were really having a good time.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was like, and then I was just like, "Oh, they're gonna laugh, and they're gonna tease me, and I don't know if I'm ready for that, or I don't
Hmm.
wanna go through with that." So, I immediately turned around and stripped everything off and went to the bathroom, washed everything off.
I remember when I was a kid, my cousin came to visit, and he's about 2 years older, so he was the same age range as my best friend next door, his sister. And
Mhm.
she had a friend over, and they stole my cousin away and made him up. They did the whole thing with him, and that was one of my earliest memories of where I was just insanely jealous of him. And
Aw.
I felt like I would have appreciated it totally differently than him. Like I felt like he sort of in a way like didn't deserve it. It was just this weird thing where I'm like, oh, like why him? Like why not me?
Hmm.
And again, didn't realize for a long time what that meant. Um,
Oh yeah.
so when did
Oh
you
yeah.
first start to realize that you were trans? When did your egg crack?
So this is what I officially say. I say December of 2018 that my egg officially cracked. I was progressively trying to figure out uh where I belonged, I guess, up until that point.
Okay.
And more so heavily after my wife and I got married. So that's another story, I guess.
Yeah. So, well, why don't we get into that? Why did getting married kind of affect things for you?
It didn't affect things, actually.
Hmm.
I will have to say my story is unlike any others, I am grateful to have met this woman. I wouldn't be as far along or along at all if it wasn't for this woman. She's amazing. I've been through a lot of relationships in my life, a lot. I've been once married before,
Okay.
and I do have a child out of wedlock. So I learned rather the hard way through life, I guess. I am a glutton for punishment, I like to say. Um, I do learn things, but I like to learn them my way. So,
Yeah.
um, it's just easier that way for me, whether it's hard or whatnot. But if I can take something away from it and learn from it, then I know it wasn't entirely bad. We talk about everything. So I've been with partners before where I was scared to even say some of this stuff. Like, hey, I would like to maybe wear some panties to bed one night, or try on some nylons and stockings if that's all right. There's no one before her that I would have been able to do this with.
Hmm.
No one.
And how did she react at the in the early points when you were kind of bringing that stuff up?
Better than anyone I've ever than most stories I've heard, I have to say.
Hmm.
Uh, it's not to say that she didn't think through everything either, because she's a human being as well. She may be a therapist, but it, when it comes to matters of the heart, she and I really do talk a lot, a lot more than any couple I think does, or at least most couples do.
Yeah, it's super important.
We both feel like communication is like one of the one of the pillars to a great relationship. So since day one, since she met me, my skeletons were thrown out onto the floor and onto the
Okay.
bed and everything for her to see, and she in turn did the same thing to me. So
Wow.
that's how our relationship started. It was like, hey, I've blah blah blah, and yeah,
Hmm.
okay. All right. Yeah. All right. You still want to go with this? And it was literally like that. Hey, you still interested? Yeah. Okay. We're cool.
All right. Well,
Um.
that's so great to get that out in the open right at the beginning, and that must build so much trust. You know,
um.
if you've opened your heart and told her everything, and she's done the same to you,
Mhm.
then it's just like, okay, one, I can trust that she's not going to run on me, and two, like I know all of the worst things, all the worst things, and she knows all the worst things. It's like it's not like we can really surprise anybody or yeah, that's pretty wonderful. Let's just go ahead and jump into the big story here. Like I said, we're not going to bury the lead on this one. You were in a previous relationship and you have a child.
Yes.
And you were telling me in the pre-interview that the relationship ended very poorly and kind of from there went south. Um,
Yes.
how much of that are you interested in talking about today? Like, I would love to hear as much as you can share about what the kind of funny story at the end of that and the thing with the computer. So if you'd be willing to share that, I'd love to hear as much of that as possible.
I will be the first person to admit my mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes in my life, and a lot of my mistakes I feel like can be equated back to one thing that really tripped my trigger. And I'm not trying to blame or point or anything, but it hurt. So being a stay-at-home parent as I was at that time, we felt that. having a stranger raise our kid
Hmm.
would not be appropriate. You know, it's just the early stages, and like literally I took being a parent seriously at that age. I was 21.
Okay.
So I took it very seriously. Read books and, you know, learned things, and um I will also say that it was been kind of my life's mission to not be um your typical person. So I wanted to always be unique and different.
Okay.
So I always tried to do things differently than the norm, I guess you would say. That's what I try to go against, is what everyone else is doing.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, you succeeded
but
there in some big ways.
yes, yes. But what I have to say with that, with my kid, I had a lot of time with my kid, and I wouldn't trade that for anything in the world. Those first years that I got with my kid were precious to me, very, very, very precious. And although things didn't work out with my child's mother, I don't to this day really hold anything against her.
Okay.
I'm more sad by the way things turned out.
Yeah.
Um, it took some time. I will tell you, I was a very angry person for a very long time. But
Hmm.
I'm jumping ahead. I will say, sorry everyone. I tell a lot of
Well,
stories.
part of that
But
was part of you know how it went south. That there at some point there was a
mhm,
restraining order, right?
there so here's a thing that happened. The my I guess my child's mother um got influenced slightly by her parents,
Mm.
who in turn kind of offered her, I don't know, the gold at the end of the rainbow, and she took it, and what that meant was that she would have to leave me. It came to that right
Mm.
away. I you mentioned restraining order, and I'm a little more up on the lingo, and I don't mean this to be corrective in any way, shape, or form. It's just informative.
Mm.
I didn't get hit with a restraining order. I got
Oh.
hit with something a little more harder.
Oh. Okay.
Um, it's called a no contact order. And the difference between the two, aside from money and time and who you may know, is there is no expiration date for a no contact order. So that is ongoing and ever present until the uh, plaintiff decides to drop that.
Wow.
So what that meant then, now I'm kind of screwed. So I need to get a hold of this person, but I've been hit with this thing. So I think quick on my feet and I get a hold of child support. Even though we had no child support set up at the time, I was still able to get a hold of them, and they set up a court date for me. Now, again, I started this by saying that I've done a lot of stupid things. Here's a stupid thing. I have this court date. It is literally a week away from me. I've already been waiting 2.5, 3 weeks. It's already a week away for. I can't wait any longer. I am in the neighborhood of where my child is living. So I look, and no one is at home. And I went through the open window and grabbed and took my computer. My computer. It was my computer. There were several other things that were mine that I lost throughout all of this, but that one I needed. I needed back.
Mm.
Um, so half an hour later, the police were knocking on my father's door looking for me.
Mm.
I just walked home and turned myself into them as they were there waiting for me, and did my time. Um, Learned some things as well, like seriously how the system works.
Mm.
Needless to say, when I was in incarcerated, um, my child custody case was coming up. So I had to go up into court in cuffs and in orange and plead to the judge that I'm a good human being.
Yeah, tough to make the case for being good and responsible in the good old orange
Oh,
jumpsuit, huh?
oh, it's the best, right? It's shining moment right there for me.
Mm,
Shining moment.
mm.
So I spent the next 10 or so years on probation and in and out of jail for minor things. Minor things. It was, not following my probation officer's rules or whatnot.
Mm. So then at
Smoking
that point, then they
smoking
had you on
marijuana.
lots of little ticky tack things that they could bust
Yeah.
you on all the time.
Mhm, mhm,
Just
mhm.
adding to your
It is
record now.
it is true. Once you get in the system and are, on their radar, it is very, very hard to get out of it. So, I'm lucky that I got out of it,
Hmm.
and I learned, like I said, I learned the hard way. 10 years like that took me? Oh my god. As I look back at that 10 years of just probation alone, and I'm just like, I wasted so much of my life. It was
Mm.
not that I didn't learn anything, but it really wasn't the best choice for me.
That hits on one of the hardships that you've gone through in your life. Um,
Yeah,
this story
I had.
has a very interesting and very bright and shiny pot of gold at the end of this rainbow. Um, very nice silver lining to this cloud. So let's jump ahead um, to the graduation.
I will tell everyone through this. I did not have a very good opportunity to have time with my child after the first 6 years of their life. After that, it was a battle. And I'm not only talking about a battle inside my head and inside of jail, but I battled the courts, I battled the system. I worked really hard as a low income person to try and at least get some of my rights back. And it was damn near impossible for me. Christmases, birthdays, holidays, anything, you name it. I wrote for at least the first 5, 6 years. Um,
And again, you didn't hear anything back from that, and you couldn't ever contact the mother
no,
because of that of the no contact. But
correct.
there was the
There,
provision in there that you could reach out to the child, right?
Correct. There was a stipulation that I could reach out to the mother and ask her questions in pertaining to the child. That day that I went for court in Orange, guess what? I got that while in Orange. Hey, I can still write to her, but it has to be about our kid. That's what I got
Okay.
in Orange. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take that for now. And we got supervised visits is what they wanted. So we got supervised visits for a time. So like I said, 6 years. It was the first 6 years I spent with my kid, and like the last year of it, I spent with supervised visits, and then it was 12 years. 12 years up until graduation had gone by, and I haven't heard or seen from my kid. I
That's
get a call
heartbreaking.
from yeah, it was hard, it was hard. Like I said, first 5 or 6 years, I wrote and did things. I had a Facebook page dedicated to them, and, I mean, I was out there. It was memories and holding on to what I had. So, finally, my child support agency called me and was informing me that I will be done with child support here soon. I've been behind, but it's never been behind much. So I've
Okay.
always paid my child support one way or another. Um, but we are probably just a couple $100 away if we're not more already done. So I mean, it's probably done already, if not.
Wow. Okay.
Um, but they called me and said, "Hey, you're gonna be done, yada, 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 we'll send you paperwork," and I just, for shits and giggles, said, "I'm gonna ask, I need to find out." So I asked, "Where is my kid graduating from? Do you know, and can you tell me, please?"
Hmm.
Um, and she did. She's I
Wow.
don't know if she's supposed to,
Hmm.
but she said it's public record and public knowledge, so I feel like she knows what she's doing. She's never told me anything else other than what I've wanted to know before, but I mean, this was one of those things where she told me.
Okay.
So we narrowed it down between the two schools. I found the right school. I'll say this. This might be a little teaser into what I'm about to say, but it's the only way for you to understand. My kid's name started with a P, and I don't know if you've picked up on my wordage lately, but I've been using kid to describe what I'm about to say. So my kid's name started with P. But we got to the ends. All right, LMNO. Right there is my kid. Like right there, smack dab in my face, but with a different first name, obviously a different last name.
Mm-hmm.
But right there. Um, I think I was quiet for like a minute, just staring at the screen, like in shock. I paused the video.
Mm-hmm.
Cheese was watching, and she's just quiet too. And I'm like, my kid's a trans.
It's so incredible. And you had no indication or anything before because you
None.
hadn't had any contact.
None. None at all. At all.
And
I've
the
been looking up a different name. I've
mm,
been hunting for this name all this time and blah, blah, blah. And I've just never been able to find my kid, who is a trans male. Um,
mm,
I was dumbfounded. So my fear is that the family and whatnot kind of made it so that my kid would never look for me. You understand? So
mm,
I always had a hard time dealing with the fact that my kid will seek me out one day. Everyone's like, "Oh, give it time, give it time. They'll come around, they'll come around." I never really just like accepted that because it's hard to.
mm,
But she's found him on Instagram, and I was able to view it and follow him. And then I sent him a paragraph in DMs on Instagram. I was so nervous for a week straight.
mm-hmm.
So nervous. I'm like, no movement on it. I can see that he's read it, just nothing coming back. I'm not blocked. I could still see him. So, okay, all right, here we go.
Uh-huh.
And then just one night, I think it was dinner time or something, sitting down, and I just happened to look at my phone and I saw a new DM come through on Instagram, and I stopped what I was doing and I sat there and read the whole thing. Messaged me back, and we are we are talking now. We have each other's phone numbers, Steam IDs, play video games.
Wow.
I've seen him in person. I've got to hug him. Um,
So wonderful.
I even got to take my old wardrobe and offer it to him, and he took that. So he actually called me and it's like, I have another friend who just came out, and these some of these clothes would really fit them as well. So
Oh,
he uh he handed them off to another trans male, and
that's so incredible.
I couldn't be happier. I got to see him open gifts on his birthday. Um, I got to send him Christmas presents this year. It's it's just something that's been always there, but I never thought would happen. And come to find out, I talk to him and I say, "Hey, when did uh when did your egg crack?" And God, if I could only play an X-Files theme right now and just let you guys hear this. My child's egg cracked January 2018. The same year, December 2018, my egg cracked. Uh, say what you want. I mean, 12 years no contact. Yeah.
And one of the things I love about this story is, you know, this has been a crap year for so
Yeah.
many people for so many reasons.
This happened
And
this year.
and yet the thing about this is that because of the pandemic, the graduation was done via video.
Yeah.
And so that led to how you were able to discover all this information. And
Exactly.
I'm just so grateful for to have that incredibly positive story come out of this really, really difficult year. Um, as I'm trying to swallow these tears. So I'm
Sorry.
I'm I'm so happy for you, and I think the story is it's like you said, it's Twilight Zone. It's so strangely coincidental. It's so beautiful, and it's just a story that we need this year. Absolutely.
I'm glad I could share it. It really is like that right there in itself happening this year is like of all years. I know this is the shittiest fucking year we can all remember, but I, aside from COVID, I will never forget this year. Never forget
Mm.
this year.
Well, that's just such a wonderful story, and I really appreciate you being willing to share it as much of a struggle as that was for you to get through in the time. I mean, 12 years is a long time, and I'm so glad that it ended up working out for you. That you definitely paid your dues, figuratively and literally, and it's come around to you, and I'm so happy that the universe has treated you fairly that way. That's
Thank you so
wonderful.
much. Thank you. Really.
Yeah, I think we'll jump back into that because the other thing I'd like to talk to you about is your streaming history and when you came out
Mhm.
there. But
Yes.
I'm gonna save that for a little later. So we've got the
Okay.
the big story out of the way, but we've got another fun one coming later, and
All
we'll
right.
get back into the regular questions. Um,
Okay.
so what's been your level of acceptance in the other areas of your life? So we know that like you were able to talk um to you prefer if we call her Cheese?
Yes.
Okay. Um, so how was it with your family and like the community around you and your friends?
I don't know if we have any supernatural fans out there, but if I could quote one person that would greatly represent what I might say is family isn't always blood, and just because they're blood doesn't mean they're right, and and it doesn't mean you need to put up with that. And I came out to my close household right here. I went out the first night. I put makeup on. We went out to Olive Garden, and then I said, "You know, I need to tell I need to tell my family now. I need to start working this in."
Mm-hmm.
So, I figured I'd start with my mom, the one person who I could talk to anyone about anything. And I mean anything from sex to geez, whatever. I mean, religious experiences. Back in the day, I could talk to my mom about anything. My dad, not so much. My mom, yeah. And so I approached my mom, and I live in a different state than my mom, so it was all on phone. So that was that, and this was all again pre-COVID, so it's not like FaceTime, where it's kind of recommended right now, but so, just audio only, and, I came out to her, and, it's a strange turn of events. My mom is a strange person to begin with. She was, I would say, somewhat accepting of it at that point. She was fine. She didn't have any questions for me. She said she loved me and, hung up the phone. I said, "Okay, so that went okay. I need to get rid of the other person I'm worried about." So what I did was I kinda sandwiched the people I was worried about in the middle of the people who I knew would be okay.
Okay.
That's kinda how I did it.
Yeah, sort of rip
But
the
it
rip the band-aid off,
yeah,
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 early.
and
Yeah.
cool a little bit and then rip another and be alright. Yeah, just like that. I was like, okay, so I'll bring it to my sister. My sister, little prehistory, a little short story on my sister. A pastor's wife, a mother of 6 children, stay-at-home mother. There, that gives a nice picture right there.
Okay.
Not an extremist by any means. I've met some extremes. Religion has never looked in my favor or never been good, and I'm sorry to anyone out there who is it, but I can't look at it the same way because it's because of what my family's done with it and to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I got out that I am a transgender woman, and my sister was quiet as she said, "Well, you know me and my husband, how we feel about these things," which is a lie. I don't know because that's none of my business. That's their business. But
Okay.
this is me and my sister, not her and her husband. Points I'm just trying to make.
Yeah.
So she's like, "You know how we feel about that. Um, you are you are no longer allowed to see my children." Having your first off, just I'm not trying to make anyone cry again or anything. Just realize having your child ripped away from you and then having your sister have kids and then your sister being like, "Hey, you want to babysit?" "Yes, I want to babysit. Please let me babysit." So yeah, I had a lot of personal time with those kids as well.
Mm-hmm.
Got to watch a lot of them grow up and change their diapers. And now I haven't seen them in 3 years, 4, maybe?
Hmm.
So I immediately called my mom because my mom's always been the referee, so to speak, and, I got a busy signal.
Which means that they're probably talking to each other, right?
Yeah, yeah, called again, busy signal.
Hmm.
So there's that. It, finally got through to my mom about 20 minutes later. She said she was on the phone with my sister, and, my mom's tone from the first call to this call had changed dramatically. 360, 180, whatever you wanna say, it changed.
Mm-hmm.
She basically said to me that Jenny's right, and I will always be her son,
Okay.
and, I hung up the phone. I
Yeah.
tried one last person, my father, whom I've never had a good relationship with. Always static, butting heads. I don't know. He played this passive father mode for a while, and my father's also religious. And then it just got to a point where I was like, "Hey, can I come over and see you? You didn't get invited to our wedding, which is another story.
Mm-hmm.
But you never met my wife. Would you like to see me and meet her for, let's plan a weekend. Let's do this weekend thing.
Mm-hmm.
He hemmed and hawed, gave me like every excuse in the book of why he was too busy or too tired or just too old to do stuff like that anymore. So I pretty much shut the door on him as well.
Wow.
I got the impression that he didn't want to see me. He was fine having a vocal communications with me, but when it came to looking at me, I don't believe my father wanted to. So that family's that, and then you got your mom and dad's. I have your mom and dad's size family, so you got your aunts and uncles on there. So I started hoping for some of them cousins and aunts and uncles, and
You're just digging deeper into the family. Like, there's got to be something in
there's
here
got to
that's
be
that's in.
someone, please. No, there really wasn't. There
Wow.
started whole wars on my Facebook page. People, yeah, my family yelling at me, my family calling me nasty, nasty things. Very narrow-minded people whom whom I used to look up to and kind of get reared by, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
you know, aunts and uncles, and you look up and respect these people, and then you come to them with something like this, and then they just slap you in the face. You're just like, whoa, 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 whoa! I never slammed you on anything you did in your life. What's
Hmm.
going on here?
Suddenly everybody's
What?
got an opinion on what you've done, and it's for some reason
Yeah.
the most horrible thing that anybody in the family's done. Like,
I mean, in and out of jail, I've got a record. No one ever said anything, never bothered them then, but, you
mm,
know, oh, I don't understand. So I
yeah.
lost a lot of family. I have a brother and 2 cousins from my mom's side distantly. Yeah, that's about it.
Wow.
Um, I have some older relatives who were blood of my last name, who have actually reached out through Facebook and contacted me because of my father's posts and told me that I'm invited to their house and gatherings for family events anytime. So there's a few like out there who are just like melt my fucking heart, but yeah, there's a lot of hate out there. There's a lot of hate, you know, out there.
Mm. Yeah, I've heard a lot of stories. I've heard a lot of different reactions from family, shunning and stuff like that. But I don't think we've had one on the show where we've heard so much of so much vitriol and just nastiness. Like usually they kind of like fade into the distance and kind of shun you away.
Accept
But
it.
someone going
Yeah,
out of their way to be so nasty to you,
yeah.
that's so bizarre.
Cousins. I mean, you know, cousins I grew up with, like,
Mhm.
strong connection, bond with, all of a sudden, just like, who are you people? Who are you people? I mean, I have to ask myself that question when I look at my parents. I'm like, I ended up the way I am, and my parents are the way they are. Who did I learn this shit from?
Mhm.
I I I don't know. It couldn't have been them because they don't even accept me.
the
Fuck.
the strongest evidence for the nature versus nurture side of
Yeah.
of the transgender argument is
Ex
just like,
ex
yeah, there's
Hello.
clearly no nurture happening here, or that influences in any way. How'd you get over your family turning against you like that? How'd you deal with that? And I'm just gonna say, like are you still working through that? And kind of what boundaries have you been able to place for yourself that has kind of helped to keep you safe emotionally from their attacks now?
First off, they're negative, alright? They're never gonna have anything good to say. So, if they follow you socially, I don't care if it's TikTok and Tinder and whatever, block them. You don't need it. You don't need it. It I've had to do this with my father before. This isn't an easy thing, not for anyone to shun away anyone who is technically their family. That
Hmm.
is not something we are programmed to do. We are programmed to do the exact opposite, and it's hard to break that.
Yeah.
But I look at positives and negatives. That's what my life has been, okay?
Hmm.
There's positive things and then there's negative things. If you don't learn something from a negative, you're going to repeat that negative. You know,
Hmm.
don't stick your finger in that light socket anymore because that shit hurts. That's negative. Okay.
Hmm.
Positive is that you learned, you figured it out. Don't do that anymore. So that's my life. It's been a lot of positive and negative. I have this motto in my head of thinking positive is better than being negative, and that's absolutely true. We grow up with this conditioning on ourselves, this programming or whatever you might call it, where we're always down on ourselves or negative self-esteem wise, you know, our
Hmm.
looks and whatever. We're always beating on ourselves. Why?
Sure.
Why? That's programming. That's programming. So I learned that a lot early on. Um, I learned to get rid of as much negativity as I can and as much as I can stand. Because, yeah, getting rid of your entire family is not easy. and it's not. I've had practice, I guess I could say, with exes, and my father. I've actually had practice with this before. This isn't the first time I've shut the door on my father and have had no communication, zip zero zilch.
Okay.
Um, and that's the way I do it. I'm a band-aid operator. If I don't like something, or if I like something and want to do it, I will do everything in my power to do it. Honestly,
Mm-hmm. And
nothing really stops me.
I like that idea of you keep going back to the band-aid of just, realizing it's something you need to do and just getting it over with and not, not stressing yourself out about it too much. Just,
I
doing it and
like
getting
to
over it.
also have like analogies and shit like that.
Hmm.
We hear things and we see things in our head, and honestly, you're carrying all that crap around on your back. You're carrying all that crap. Like, you want to know why depression's there? Get rid of some of that crap. Let that crap go and keep walking. It's not worth it. It's
Mm-hmm.
not worth it. It really isn't. I can only tell you that if they don't support you, they don't need you at all. At all. Okay?
Yeah.
Because you're just a mat to them. You're somebody that they can talk down to make them feel better. You don't need them. I've been going to this point now of not even calling them my mother and father. I'm actually calling them by their first names. It's
Okay.
not out of spite, not out of resentment, but I just don't look at them as that anymore, because how can you be? I
No.
mean,
Yeah.
I have a mother-in-law who's more of a mother to me now than my actual mother was. So,
Yeah. It's a title that is to be earned in a lot of ways, and you know, usually it's pretty easy to earn it, and they've gone out of their way to strip it off. So, you're, I think you're totally within your right. Absolutely.
it still hurts, okay? Because, I mean, holidays come around, and yeah, it's been 2, 3 years, and it's just like, we used to do things, you know? I mean, it'd be cool to reminisce and talk and whatnot. That still comes up,
Mm-hmm.
but the good things come up, the good memories that I have, you know?
Yeah.
Not what they said to me, and not what they will say to me, or not what they will do or say behind my back even. So I just get rid of it. I get rid of the trash. I really That's the only way I can put it. I get rid of the trash.
Well, yeah, that's the best way to do it, and I love that. So the other aspect of this that we usually talk about is work. Now, you
Okay.
you had been streaming for a while at that time, right? When you came out in December 2018.
Yes, technically under my streaming belt on Twitch, I have 6 or so years under my belt
Okay.
as a streamer. I went through 3 different names before I landed on what I have now, Khryzza. But obviously, with my transition, my name had to change. So I mean, it's no big deal. I can say this. I was it was Christopher. So my name was an adaptation of Christopher as it is now. Then I shortened it once I transitioned. I shortened it to Chris. So it
Mm-hmm.
was just Khryz. But I didn't like that. I was like, okay, yeah, it's neutral, but it's not feminine.
Mm-hmm.
So I landed on Khryzza.
Awesome.
And I guess with the job Twitch streaming thing, question you asked was, when I transitioned, it was very hard with dysphoria to present myself like this. Like, this is no big deal now for me.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that here's a conundrum for you. Going out in public, I have no problem whatsoever going out in public. I will gussy up and makeup on, and I am cool. Hitting that start button and having a camera on my own Twitch channel, that's a whole nother ball game.
Mm.
Um, and it freaked me out. It freaked me out. I got really scared. I streamed for a while. I caught some flack from some longtime supporters, mods, people I thought were friends, females alike, as well. I've
Mm.
gotten it from everyone. you go over and look at my channel, and you'll see, you'll see all the numbers on top, but that really doesn't mean anything in the big scheme of things. People like Dr. Borg, fucking Peach Roof. You got Chris Cheese, Frenzy, these people stick around because they want to, not because they have to, or they feel obligated, or they feel like they can get something from you.
Hmm.
These people have stuck around, and I am ever so grateful for those that have stuck around.
Hmm.
It's not the same, um numbers wise, and I could count on that Twitch paycheck every 2 weeks. I mean, it was great. It was nice. Not to say that I wouldn't give it another go. I needed to step away and take a break because of everything, and kind of get myself a little more set,
Hmm.
confidence wise.
Okay.
How can I be confident on cam when I'm not even confident in myself right now? So, mm,
Absolutely. So,
you know,
so was my assessment a little wrong in the intro? Did you have a lot of fans turn on you, or was it kind of a combination of, the fact that you maybe took a break and the stream was a little different?
no, you were absolutely correct. I
Okay.
did lose a lot of support. I've lost a lot of support over the 6 years, but that comes and goes in this game. It really does.
Mm-mm.
Your true supporters, you'll know. You'll know. You may not know right away, but you'll know. Um, but a lot of them have left. I don't even hear from them. I wouldn't even call them acquaintances if they reached out to me. I'm just like, yeah, we knew each other a long time ago. I don't know how many times I stream now, and maybe if Borg is listening right now, it's like he could say the same thing. One or two people are gonna pop in and be like, I haven't been here in a long time. How you? And it's like, well, this is different. Yeah, this is all different. Hi. So
Welcome
I'm
in,
like,
surprise.
yeah, surprise. If you like really liked my stream and liked my content, you probably would have followed along and realized this 3 years ago. But cool, thank you. Welcome back. Hi. I'm not trying to slam anyone like that, but I've realized also too, friends will stick around, and true supporters will stick around. But presence is power. The more you stream, the more reliable they are going to be on you. Don't
Mhm.
forget that. They're waiting for that 6 p.m. transgender show. Like, come on, where the fuck is my program? What the hell? So when you aren't live, they get sad, and then people's attention spans, it's crazy. I'm
Mhm.
telling you, there's an analytic out there that if you don't attract them within the first 4 seconds of your stream, when they pop in, they're gone.
Mhm.
So, okay, that's good analytics, right? It's a good
Yeah.
numbers. I can
So
work with that, I think.
you just gotta hit them fast when they pop in. Oh, hey,
Yeah,
so have you started to find your stride again?
I have occasionally been doing a news program. It's not much. It's just a podcast and talk show. I read some transgender news from the LGBTQ network,
Okay.
basically tagged transgender. So it's under the LGBTQ website, Nation website, LGBTQ Nation. And but I have it tagged to look for transgender posts. And so I just kind of do a little news segment, read off some crap there. I'll occasionally just come on and yammer a bit with anyone who shows up.
Mhm.
Um, but I've been finding it more and more like, I don't really have to go full bore, you know, like with my makeup, like I am today. Like I can just do eyeliner and lip. I'm cool with that now. I'm
Great.
good. If anyone has a problem, I know what to do. So I'm not worried. I'm actually like not worrying about the chat and everything so much. So
Mm.
I'm just like, hey, if you don't like it, why the fuck are you here? So
Yeah.
don't sit here and tell me your points of view. I don't want to fucking hear it. Get out of here.
This is the first
Sorry.
time I've had the guest ban somebody before I even read the comment. So
Yeah, sorry. I was like, nobody wants to see that shit. Get out of here.
yeah. Oh, it was so great too, because it was one of those, yeah, no offense, and I'm not, it's no hate or whatever, but you're totally wrong. And it's just like,
Yeah.
do you not understand what hate and negativity is? Like, do you not
Yes.
understand
Yes.
definitions? It was just very funny. Um,
Mm-hmm.
well, that's great that you're getting back into your streaming and you're finding your groove. I hope that continues. Let's move back into the some of the other story stuff. When did you
Okay.
first find community? When did you find a transgender community?
Okay, so I'm weird. I don't know what the hell I was doing, but I actually didn't find the a transgender community online. I didn't. I found one transgender streamer. Her name is Nicotine, if you haven't heard of her.
Mm-mm.
But she's pretty awesome, pretty cool. But that outside of that, I never really got into it. I locally I went to some transgender meetings,
Okay.
um, support groups, via either at a person's house or on Zoom. We do something like that. I did that for a while. I don't know. I still think I was trying to get more, again, like, comfortable with myself
Okay.
and accepting of, like, this is who I am, and even around these people, I shouldn't be, like, freaking out because they're thinking the same thing. So knock it off.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really look much after that. I tried to find some more people socially, like on Twitter, Instagram, etc. I found a few people. I actually have been following Michaela and Victoria for some time. I've known about them since my transition, so I've been following them. There's a few others I follow. There's a Miss Nuclear who's pretty cool on Instagram.
Mm.
A lot of positive posts and everything. But it wasn't until the Transgender Awareness Week, and on that Tuesday, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do a show. I don't care. I'm just gonna do a show. I need to talk to my community about this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I met you.
Yeah.
So so the transgender show was in my chat, and they heard my story, and I kind of got introduced to you and your show. That following after me, I watched your show, and you guys talked about the Twitch Community Center Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Joined that right away. I've been in there, and I love that. Shout out to Peach Roof. Love it over there. It's a really really great resource. Super 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 fantastic. And I will say I've actually given it to my wife, who is a therapist, and has given it out as a resource to some of her clients. So I love it a lot. I love the community. I love the Valkyries. Emily, you're the best. I just you and the girls have, like, made me feel really welcome too. Like, just not like this intruder or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I feel welcome, and I never really got into a community, but I was after I did, I was like kicking myself, like that was so stupid, and it took you so long. Why?
Yeah, it can be funny sometimes.
Yeah.
So my story is like right when I no, it was like long before I came out as trans, but um I had been so driven to dress in women's clothes and then to dress in public and start wearing makeup and present before I even really realized what it was, and so I joined a transgender meetup group. And it was sort of the same thing. I was freaking out to go meet them because I was a faker. I was a cross-dresser, not transgender. So like I just thought for sure I would be driven out of there on rails, just tarred and feathered for being a fake, and realized quickly that it was the whole spectrum of people, in the trans and non-binary areas. But still, it was too early for me. It was long before I could really come to fully accept myself. So I had to pull back from it. And that's why when I came on to when I just stumbled onto your stream. I just happened to have Twitch up. I was doing something on for my channel, and I was gonna close things down. I'm like, well, who else is streaming? Because I think I did a search for transgender just to see
Yeah.
where my show was popping up, and I saw that you were live, and I'm like, oh, I'll go check this out. I heard your story. I came in at exactly the right time to hear the story about finding your kid,
Hmm.
and thought, oh, this is amazing. I got to have her on. And then I heard that you didn't have community. You didn't have a lot of trans friends, if any. And I'm like, well, shit, we can fix that.
Yeah, it was sad, when I realized it. I was like, I don't really have any trans friends. I mean,
Hmm.
am I a part of that statistic that, I don't personally know a trans aside from myself? 80%? Wow, I'm sorry. But yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's
I
the thing,
felt
it
I felt
was me
that
too, because I joined that group, and then I had to pull back from it because it was too much. Well, and then it was a ridiculously long time before I got back into finding community. It wasn't until I think mid 2019 that I was like, "Oh, what am I doing? I need to find other trans people." So I started to follow some trans girls on Instagram, same thing, following Megan Bound and Victoria Maximus, and all the
way.
trans vengers. And then that's
Yeah.
what led me here to Twitch. And so yeah, when I heard that you didn't have community and you didn't have that support, I'm like, um, she's another one like me where you just kind of came into it a little bit late, but here we'll fix you up.
It was, I mean, it was really good. I can't say that I don't like it, because I mean, now I have some people I can actually talk to about, like, hey, did this happen to you? By chance, this thing, does it go away? Okay, cool, thank you. Just checking. You know, for some reason, trans people are really quiet about this stuff, like written on the internet. A lot of stuff is just like hidden, and it's hard to find it.
Mhm.
Trust me, I've looked online. I've been like, it's got to be something out there somewhere. It's it's quiet. It's quiet. There's what we do in our transition. I guess we keep it to ourselves,
Yeah.
and I guess that's the way it is.
Yeah, I think it's part of
So
that. We do get a lot of indications from people that they're not ready for it, or it's too much, or like or they think that we're bad for being trans just in general. So it's just like, yeah, we try and kind of um, pull back on it. So it's only when you're in the midst of a trans community that you feel comfortable starting to share it. But even then, it's not just sitting out there. You have to. It's not sitting there for you to discover. You have to pull it out of people. You have to ask them specifically.
yep.
And that's something, we haven't gotten into sex or a lot of the kind of things that come with some of the surgeries and stuff like that, because again, it is super personal, and I
It
feel a
is.
little sheepish asking it sometimes. But I also feel like, on the other hand, that's something we should start to kind of push more, because again, those are areas that not a lot of people talk about. And so as people start to transition, they don't have the resources for that, or the information that they might need to try and make their decisions. Like, I'm still trying to decide if bottom surgery is a possibility in my future.
Mhm,
Like, I
mhm.
know it took me so long to get to the point of doing laser, because that was a permanent step, and I was just
Yeah.
afraid of doing anything permanent. Um, that
Not me though. I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry.
No, please go ahead.
Not me. Not when it came to that. I guess everyone is different. But
Mm-hmm.
dysphorically speaking, like that was my number one. My body hair. Oh, facial and body hair. I had to get rid of it. I didn't care if it was permanent or not. It had to go. Um, but I'm still that way. I still have a lot of body hair that I'm not very fond of. It's lightened up a lot since HRT. And I'm coming up on 2 years here in April, but I'm open to talk about it. when it comes to surgeries, I'm open to talk about them. I was very Cheese could tell you, early transition, like, I didn't
Mm.
I was like, yeah, I'm fine right now. Yeah, we're cool," you know?
Yeah.
But now sign me up, please. I'll it's been problems for me. Not to say like it's worse or whatever, because there are things for me that are more heavy dysphorically for me to deal with than others. Others I
Okay.
can just like, okay, you're fine. You're just a minor little mosquito. I'm good. Just go away. You know. Others I have to fight with a little more. Facial hair was one. And honestly, I kind of flip-flopped on the bottom surgery. And just a few months ago, I actually like was solid that yes, I want to get it done. Every time I take a shower, every time just I'm not trying to paint too much of a, a NC-17 picture here or anything like that, but anytime I get a glimpse or whatever, I really have to like push it out of my head,
Huh.
like, because it's just like my brain is right on top of it. It's just like, oh, there, and I'm just, shut up, stop it, leave me alone. um, but it's not. I'll say it was light at first, and it's gotten a little stronger
Mm.
as I've transitioned. I guess the dysphoric part of it for
Mm.
me. So it is something I want. Yeah, I
Mm.
want to get it done.
So you ran into some of the key fears that we run into as trans people right from the start. You know, trouble with family, accepting, and things like that. What other
Yeah,
fears have you had along the way in your transition, and how did you overcome them?
I guess I've always looked at myself as kind of this entertainer-esque person. I've always wanted to be something in entertainment. Not necessarily an actor or actress or anything like that, but just something. So streaming actually like really helped me gain a lot of confidence and deal with things such as bullying. That's I mean, Twitch chat. If you don't know Twitch chat, it can be toxic AF. Like, that is nasty. Like, sometimes
Mhm.
it's nasty. Um, I mean, a lot of upstairs time, I
Mhm.
guess. Just because we're physically transitioning doesn't mean that we're not mentally transitioning as well.
Mhm.
There's a lot of garbage you got to get rid of up there as well. Programming that you might not have even known about from decades ago. That's what has helped me is just a lot of self-reflection, and more just thinking on it. I guess when it comes to like
Mhm.
um, fear of anything, I pretty much faced it head on right away. When it came to HRT, when it came to getting a doctor, when it comes to going outside, you misgender me, I'm gonna misgender you, and I will do it. I don't pull no punches, and I'll act nonchalant about it just like you. I'm serious. It's one of those things. I look forward to that, to being outside
Hmm.
in public. I look forward to it. Whereas before, I'd still say that I am. Introverted extrovert, but Cheese will tell you, I'm more apt to go outside now than before.
Mm. Wow.
Um, so that's helped me in a sense, because it's like this is my power armor right here. This is my armor. You can't hurt me through this. I don't care what you say.
Mhm.
So fear is gonna come, and it will,
Yeah.
and I deal with it as it comes, really, and I am who I am. I'm a band-aid type person. And if my fear is just to stick my hand in that mouth right away, then I'm gonna do it. I'm just okay. Let's see how bad it is. Um, yeah, I've transitioned. I'm transitioning mentally as well, and that's a fear of mine because I don't know if I'm going to change anything more in myself, mainly because of my partner, but it's all right. I'm got the correct thinking now.
Mhm. So how confident do you feel now as a trans woman? It sounds like, with going out, you've got that, you say you're yourself now, so that you've added that layer of armor.
Mhm.
Would you say that you do feel confident as a woman these days?
I do feel confident as a woman these days. When I'm out in public, I feel confident. When I'm online in this capacity, I don't feel quite so confident.
Mm.
It's not like it's there 100%. I'd say it's around 50%. Peter's at about 60, but again, there's that whole part like fake it. Okay, I can fake the rest of the fucking 40. We're good. We're good. So we'll get there. We'll get there. But I am more confident outside than I am on cam and just social networkly.
What role
You
did therapy get to play in your involvement here? I know that your wife is a therapist, but have you seen anybody specifically? Have you been able to afford that and do that regularly to help you out?
I did it for a time and it was very helpful. And I will say, I mean, I am biased to all boot because I'm married one, but therapy is so helpful. I don't care if you have problems or not. I'm serious. It's so helpful. It's as they say, it's therapeutic. So I've never looked at therapy or counseling or psychiatrists as anyone bad. Maybe once I get to know them, but I always look at them like they're really there just to help me. So don't pussyfoot around and get to the point so they can help you because that's why you're here. You want help. I did go to one for a time. They were they were LGBT inclusive, so
Okay.
that was something I sought out.
Hmm.
And it was good for a time, but I did stop seeing her. I do want to go back and see a therapist again. We oh, that's why. My insurance changed, so we changed insurance. So, goodbye therapist. I have to go find someone else who's covering under this new insurance. So,
Hmm.
yay, start all over. um, but I am looking forward to it. It's just during the holiday in 2020 and election and everything, I'm just like, I I'll wait a little bit and
Hmm.
see what happens in the coming year,
Yeah. Yeah.
We're good. You know. But yes, I when it comes to therapy, yeah, I do consider her my therapist, and oddly enough, she considers me her therapist. So
Hmm.
I guess it works out.
Yeah. That again comes into having that partnership and that level of trust where you can share everything. I think that makes it easier
Absolutely.
to get to there.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
of hormone surgeries, anything else that you've read, seen, or come to in your own thinking through things, what has been the single most affirming thing for you? Affirming your true gender. What has helped you the most just to feel like, okay, yes, I've got this. This is me.
There's a multitude, I guess I could say. Like I mentioned, makeup helps a lot. If it's for nobody, who cares? Look at yourself.
Hmm.
You look beautiful, and you will. I just it helps so much. So that's one thing for me. When I go out in public now, pre-laser hair removal, it was a little different, and also pre-COVID, it was also different. So
Hmm.
now it's a little more forgiving. I get called ma'am and lady a lot more. That makes me feel really good, and I notice it right away.
Hmm.
Um, to the point where I will tell them afterwards how much I appreciated that.
Hmm.
Um, and if I don't tell them, I will tell their manager how much I appreciated that type of service,
Hmm.
especially now.
Hmm.
It's so when I see it, I call it out and I make sure everyone else sees it too,
Hmm.
or at least the important people see it.
And how have those
Um,
conversations gone? I know we've gotten that question a lot in different areas where people were saying like, should I show appreciation when people call me the right thing, or do you just let it go as, yes, that was right?
I personally feel like I should, because one, they made me feel like awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like awesome. Like, and they don't even know how awesome that was. Like, just oh, thank you so much.
Okay.
So I want to make sure that they know how much I appreciated that. I guess I'm that type of person who's like, they'll never know if they're doing it right if nobody tells them.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, like, hey, that's cool. Keep that up. I
That's some
like that.
behavior we want to reinforce. Yes, go with that.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you. More. So yeah, I do that a lot. You know, sometimes Mama Cheese and Cheese are looking for me, and I'm off talking to the manager at the restaurant, being like, you know, that's good shit right there. Like, seriously, good shit. Please, you know, don't get it everywhere, but when we do, I need to bring attention to it.
Well, that's awesome. What have been some of the biggest learning curves you've had to get used to in transitioning and now living life as a woman?
There's no right way to do makeup. I just always like imagine, you know, like there's a certain brush to do this part, you know, this for this and this is for that and blah blah blah. In the end, it's art first off, and it's makeup. So you know what? You don't have any eyeliner? Guess what? Some dark eyeshadow works really fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
That was one thing, and that's just like that was like wow, okay, because I was always like, am I doing this right? Does this look right? Do I look stupid? Did I do this wrong? No, it looks awesome. I like it. Okay.
I totally get that though. Like I pick up a brush and I'm like, is this the right brush for this? Is this the brush I should be using for this? And that's such great advice. Just fucking let it go and just use a brush. Just put it on and
Yes,
if you find that you like a different brush better, then use that brush. Like try and drop the right and wrong way kind of crap.
things I absolutely like still scratch my head over, and I'm just like, ladies, we gotta fucking change this, okay? Like what's the deal with our fucking pockets? Like, can we not please have like real pockets and deep pockets like everyone else? Is
Nope.
that not a thing, please? Please. I miss my pockets.
I don't mind the fact that we don't have the pockets in front because I don't like what they do anyways. But then when you have the back pockets, like on a pair of tight jeans or whatever, and they only give you like the half pocket.
Yeah, it's like you could just put my knuckles in there, but just my fingers. What is that gonna do? Meanwhile, guys, you know, they could stuff their whole phone in a wallet and it all disappears into their pant leg. Hello, give some of that fabric to us.
That's why guys carry all our crap though, because we literally have no place to do it.
Also had to adjust my way of like looking at the world. I wouldn't say I looked at it any differently than I do now. It's just now it's more clear, a lot more clearer for me, feminine wise. Even it's just like, yeah, it's a bit of a wake up call, you know. You really realize what's going on. I still wouldn't trade it for the world.
Are there ways in which the transition has either lived up to your expectations or sort of let you down? Like you got to a certain point and you're like, I thought I would feel this way now and I don't, or it's I get to here and it's so much better than I ever thought it could be.
I would say early on, as most of us, I feel like, go through transition, we have this idea of what it's going to be like, and we soon realize that that's not it. You know, that was one thing that I realized right away. I was just like, okay, I can't go off of anyone's story. Like, nope, that's not going to work for me. At least right then, it wouldn't have worked for me. Maybe now it would work for me, but not when that egg was still, you know, kind of crusting up there. It was just no. It wasn't until later, and I, again, referencing a Band-Aid type of
analogy.
person that I am.
Mhm.
I moved fast. In my transition, when that egg cracked, I got myself a doctor who was LGBTQ, and actually she is more trans specialist than anyone.
Mm.
So she became my main primary.
Oh
And
wow.
then four months later, I was on HRT. So I got a doctor. Boom, into April, got my first set of meds. Been on them ever since. And I I tend to think that I am moving a little fast in my own pace, but in my head, I feel like I am.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't say like I'm ahead of anyone else because this isn't a fucking game and we all know that. It's not a race, is what I mean. It's not a race.
Uh-huh.
Um you'll I'm getting there to that point where I'm feeling more accepting of my physical self now.
Okay.
I I didn't quite actually expect some of these changes that I went through.
Hmm.
For example, I mean, the skin softening. Yes, I read all about that,
Hmm.
but I did not think that a birthmark that I had would completely disappear.
Huh.
Um, stuff like that because of the skin softening and like smoothing out and stretching and whatnot. It's completely gone. I had a strawberry birthmark, that was right here. It was big, red,
Hmm.
noticeable,
Hmm.
but it's because of estrogen. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's completely gone, and I
Hmm.
never really liked it. It was always kind of an eyesore for me,
Hmm.
like a deformity on my face. Thank you. I mean, it's gone, but thank you. So I wasn't expecting things like that.
That's a yeah, a
I
nice unexpected bonus. I like that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
really. Knowing what I know now, I wish I would have had the language that I had, um, when I was a child. Not to say that, like, I wouldn't end up where I am today, and I'm not happy where I am today, but looking back at it, it's like, oh, puberty. It explains so much.
Uh-huh.
It really does. It really does. I'm thankful, really, really thankful for the transgender kids who are coming up now and who get to go actually through life. They don't have to worry about their Adam's apple or voice box or binding or anything like that. Because of there are parents out there now who are whatever you want to call them, who are just raising their kids as kids.
Hmm.
They get to be who they want to be,
Yeah,
and
and
I
the
am.
ones that know to love and accept their kid and to roll with it and do what the kid needs.
Yeah.
That's a nice thing finally.
Hmm. It's really nice to see, and I can't wait to see it. Because we're gonna be fucking old when we see these kids, and it's just gonna be like, fuck, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
they won't have any understanding of our struggles, but
no,
let's hope. Let's hope.
exactly, exactly. Yeah, let's hope.
So how has transitioning affected your mental health?
The introduction to estrogen and emotions and whatnot. I've tried all forms of estrogen, I will say. I started with the patch,
Okay.
didn't like it. I wore it for like 6 months, so I gave it a good shot. I didn't like it. It would always kind of peel away when I took a shower, even though they said you could take a shower with it. And it's
Hmm.
like it's one patch that you're supposed to wear for an entire week. But well, 3 days, 4 days into that week, and it's like sticking 3/4 of the way.
Hmm.
Mentally, I'm feeling like I'm not getting my full dose. It's
Hmm.
that was a real thing for me back then. Was
Yeah.
like I need to get my full dose. Give it to me.
I remember having that same thing. It's just funny that the patch didn't work out for you, considering how many Band-Aid analogies you've used. So it seems like that would be the perfect thing for you.
uh,
But yeah, it was
yeah,
funny.
so
The same thing. I started at near the end of summer. It
okay.
was early August, and I was still like going to the beach and like yeah, taking showers or maybe a bath here and there, and I just felt like I was like there was always water in between it
Yeah,
and my body. I'm like I can't be getting the right amount of drugs
exactly.
now.
It's science, right? It's got to be touching the skin.
Mhm.
um So yeah, I've tried that. I tried the shots for a while. The shots are cool, but you want to talk about like instant as my wife would say, like PMS the next 2 days. Yeah, that's one way to get it. So I immediately had to deal with that because then I was like, all right, shot, no, and then the doctor's offering me the pill, and I was like, no, give me the pure shit. So I got the shots. Yeah, give it right there. Give it to me. Um, so we got that going, and after a while, my muscles broke a couple of blood vessels, and that happens. That's gonna happen. But when you keep breaking them over and over again, it's my legs started to look a little like funky. I wouldn't say it was bad, and the doctor was just like, "Yeah, no, it's a good thing you're wanting to switch it now." So we switched to pills, and I've been so happy with the pills. It's been
Hmm.
kind of an even keel
Oh,
for
great.
me, even though I've had my doses adjusted 3 times now.
Hmm.
I am I'm still feeling pretty good about them. I like it. It's just I guess I had to go through that experience because
Hmm.
that patch just wasn't cutting it. They need to do something better there.
What advice would you pass along to young and closeted trans people out there?
If you're worried about someone else, stop. They're not going to be in your life forever. I hate to break it to you,
Hmm.
uh, sound of reason or whatever, but my experience has always shown me that if a person does not support you, they don't care about you.
Hmm.
And you don't need that negative, whether it's verbally from them or mentally from you because of them. You don't need that in your
Hmm.
life right now. Okay? You got
Hmm.
enough shit to worry about up here for
Uh-huh.
yourself. You don't need no outside influence coming in and attacking that bullshit. Mm-mm.
Mm.
That's my advice. Just get rid of the trash and you'll know who's trash soon enough.
Khryzza, thank you so much for coming on, being so raw, and sharing those really powerful and important stories.